The Pulse of Spokane is a broad show that showcases many different things in our community, sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.
Welcome in to the Pulse of Spokane, Spokane Talks. Today is March 19th, Thursday, but just let the record show that I did wear my green because we are recording this on St. Patrick's Day. Today I'm going to be sitting down with Richard Whitehead, not only president and CEO of Richard Whitehead and Associates, but also running for sheriff in Kootenai County. And then later we're going to be sitting down as well with Tyler Russell of the Better Business Bureau. And so we'll get right back to those conversations with them after a word from our sponsors.
We believe every person is created in the image of God with immeasurable beauty and worth, that people should not be defined by their present condition or past mistakes. We are all broken. We need each other. Healing for our brokenness begins with connection, with understanding how much we are loved by a good God. And with healing comes change, the potential for joy and meaning. No one was created for mere survival on the streets, for an existence blurred by mind-numbing substances. Each person is created with a purpose, a unique gift no one else can offer the world. Our job is to help them rediscover it. Real people, real change. Union Gospel Mission.
Welcome to Apex Plaza, Spokane's one-stop cannabis destination. Apex Cannabis features thousands of economy, value, and luxury cannabis products. Cannagear features hemp-based CBD products, glass, goods, and gear. Stop by 1325 North Division to experience the Apex difference.
This product has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risk associated with the consumption of this product. For use only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
And welcome back into the Pulse. I'm sitting here now with Richard Whitehead. Richard, thank you for coming from Post Falls and taking the time to be with us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I just kind of wanted to ask you and try to get a sense, because obviously we're here in Spokane, but what are things looking like in Idaho in terms of just how COVID's affecting everything? And I mean, you guys aren't on a, statewide like lockdown or ban or anything, but how are things starting to matriculate over there?
They haven't mandated anything other than they sent the kids home from school.
Okay.
They have encouraged no group meetings. So groups I would normally be attending throughout the week or the weeks, all those are getting postponed. So the calendar's becoming wide open.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, but also nice, or not nice rather. So go ahead and tell us about Richard Whitehead and Associates. Who are you? What do you guys do?
Well, I have a 40-plus year career in law enforcement. In the 90s, while still gainfully employed, I designed a training program for the agency I was working for. That ended up growing legs outside the agency, and I started teaching outside the agency, which ended up being a business. And then over the years throughout my career, the business grew into teaching different things, from field training programs to leadership to one of the things we talked about yesterday, forensic statement analysis, deception detection. So once I retired or semi-retired, then the business ramped up, and now I travel typically 20 to 25 weeks a year conducting training in law enforcement agencies nationally and a little bit internationally.
And what was it that got you into specifically the deception detection aspect of the law enforcement?
In 1999, as a lieutenant in the agency I was at, I had the opportunity to go to the FBI National Academy, which is similar but different than the FBI Academy, in which is opened up to law enforcement leaders. Less than 1% of law enforcement gets to attend that academy. I was fortunate enough to attend. It's basically a 21-hour college load while you're there. You're living in Quantico in-house. And one of the things I learned there was forensic statement analysis, and I was just fascinated by it. I had already started my training company, so when I was getting ready to leave, I asked the instructors if I could use this, and they said sure. I went back to my agency and used it in practical application in major crimes cases for a couple of years. Really got comfortable with it, and then I wrote the curriculum that I teach now. I have a one-day basic class and then a two-day advanced class that I run around the country teaching.
How long did it take you to write that curriculum? Because I got to imagine that it would be pretty intensive and expansive.
Well, most of it is actually doing the hands-on work. So while it's an 8-hour class, during the 8-hour class, the participants analyze 19 different statements. And those statements can be from a paragraph to several pages. So it's a fire hose type of training in doing the analysis and finding the deception in them. So the hardest part was finding the 19 different statements that I wanted to use and the different aspects of those statements I wanted to use for the different techniques.
Is this relatively speaking, the curriculum and the class, the training itself, is it hard to pass? Like, how's the success rate look like for a lot of the people that go through it?
The success rate's very, very high because it's very hands-on. After the first hour and a half of the class, they've got all the intro stuff out of the way and how we're going to do it, and then it's just one technique at a time throughout the rest of the day that culminates with using all of them together by the end of the day.
And you were explaining this because we met yesterday, and the things that you look for. And it was something that I wouldn't have thought at first when it comes to detecting, people deceiving you and everything, but it also makes sense if you want to go into what you're looking for and, just run down what that looks like.
Well, there's several different techniques. The way it works is similar to a polygraph. A polygraph works when they hook the instrument to you and you're deceptive, your body is in conflict with itself. So your respiration will change, your pulse will change, and that's what the polygraph picks up on, and that's when they know you're being deceptive. The same thing happens in our mind when we're deceptive, in that we will subconsciously change the words we use or how we would phrase things. So the techniques are looking for those subtle changes. So we establish the norm on how you're going to communicate initially, and then once we get into the event in question, the crime or whatever that you're alleging, then we look for those subtle changes from your norm, which indicates deception.
And you were giving me an example yesterday of that subconscious word change.
A very simplistic example is, say you burn your house down for the insurance money, but you're claiming to be the victim, I don't know what happened. So I would have you write a statement, or I would record a statement, either way, and have you say, tell me what happened. From the time, I would ask, what happened from the time you got up until the time the fire truck came? Your story might go, well, I got up, I did my morning routine, I left my house and went to have breakfast with my friends, I came back to my house, I changed clothes so I could go to the office, I left my house, I went to the office, I came back to my house for lunch, and then I left the house to go back to work. Well, your norm was referring to your house as my house. And as human beings, we have attachments to things we care about. Whether it's people or things, we have an attachment to it. If we're going to harm that, our psyche has to break that connection. So when you were referring to your house, the first several times you referred to it, it was my house. The last time you left your house to go back to work during the time period it burnt down, you referred to your house as the house. So your psyche made that subtle disconnection because it knew what was going to happen, so it was no longer mine. You had to break that attachment.
And conversely, you were also speaking about what humans naturally, their bodies subconsciously do when they are feeling comfortable with each other or connected, and what does that look like?
The body side of it is we want to, if we're comfortable with who we're interacting with, we want to display that. And we don't consciously do it, our subconscious does it. So if you were interviewing me and you were asking me some really tough questions that made me uncomfortable, in this swivel chair you have me in, I'd probably start moving. Because when you get me under stress, the body, that's energy, the body has to disperse. So you'll do things to do that. I might cross my arms and give myself a hug because you're making me uncomfortable, things like that. If you ask me enough questions, I'm going to get pointed toward the door and my feet will be in a runner stance toward that door, because in my mind, that's the way out of here, and I'm tired of your questions. You're making me uncomfortable. So the body will do certain things like that you're not conscious of. And if you want to have fun with that, if you're standing in a hallway, lean up against the wall. And if whoever you're visiting with is comfortable, eventually they're going to lean up against the wall too, because in their psyche, they're going to mirror what you're doing. Or you could play with your chin, things like that. So you could have fun with it as well. But that's some of the things we look at when we're doing interviews, is those energy things.
And be honest with me, how much just in everyday life and everyday interactions do you or do you not use these things, or you have it in the back of your mind, and if you wanted to, you could think about those things? I mean, how much do you use it outside of just the, investigation or the interrogation of a person? I
don't consciously use it all the time. When I do 30-minute presentations on what we're talking about for rotaries and things like that, just because it's a fun, interactive, and I'll walk them through a case study and show them, how pronouns are used and lack of conviction and things like that. So it's a fun, interactive process, and then people will say, "Well, I'm scared to talk to you now." I don't keep up with it. If I'm watching an interview on TV, especially if you're watching political interviews,
right? Yeah,
it's real easy to pick up on. You don't have to be paying attention to catch it there. But on a day-to-day interaction, I'm really not that cognizant of.
Well, I got to say, I'm all of a sudden very conscious and aware of how I am and, what this has been like. So, I'm sure you've gotten a lot from me and based on what I've given you. So a lot of people could have fun at home with this the next time that you are interacting with someone, or if someone's stealing your beef jerky, your roommate perhaps, but not coming clean about it. Maybe you could use some of these techniques and really get more out of them than what they might be leading on. Richard, thank you again for taking the time to come out here. We really appreciate it. And best of luck with the campaign. I know that things have been strained a little bit because of what's going on in the world, but I hope that the social media outlets serve as enough to, bolster you past the point of, advantage. So thank you again, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So stick around, because right after this, we're going to be coming back with Tyler Russell.
This is Looms Day in Spokane. We got about 40 firefighters and their friends and family handing out 40,000 cups of water as the day goes by.
It's a very good opportunity to see the public and support them and help them out and cheer them on during Blooms Day.
It's one of the best things about Spokane is that we have these major events and the whole community comes together not just to participate, but to volunteer and show that they really care about our city and making our city look great.
This type of an event really is emblematic of Spokane because so many people get involved. We have 50,000 people probably running this race. Always has been a very huge event.
Right now we're at the corner of Broadway and Nettleton. It's the last water station before the finish, so people are pretty much dehydrated by the time they get to us. They really need our water.
The water stations are a vital part, especially on warm days like today. It's real important that we have the volunteers to help with that. Without the volunteers, Blooms Day wouldn't exist.
All up and down the course, there are people that are involved in this celebration. It really is a celebration of what Spokane's all about.
I'm Nikki Butler, and I'm a regional manager for STCU. My lunch buddy is Nicole. I'm Brandy Schloss. I'm a regional manager at STCU. My lunch buddy is Angelina. She's grown up with me. I've grown up with her. To see her graduate will be a lot of fun.
Brandy and I have been lunch buddies since the girls were in 2nd grade. It's great that STCU provides me with the opportunity to be part of Reach for the Future. We are committed to the children. We're committed to our community. I'm Nikki.
I'm Brandy.
And STCU is here for good.
This is River Ridge Frame Shop, called Frame It Today, where we can take your art, customize it, and get it ready to hang on the wall. Here at River Ridge Hardware, 2803 West Garland.
Welcome to a new kind of talk show, Spokane Talks, where you find news, views, and conversations that include respect for opinions, facts, and diversity.
Spokane Talks, Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Fox 28.
Thanks for hanging around. We're back now with Tyler Russell of the Better Business Bureau. Try saying that 10 times fast, let alone one time coherently. In the Pacific Northwest branch, was that? I'm sorry, I'm already screwing that up.
No, that's quite all right. It's Northwest and Pacific. Okay. The Better Business Bureau, this specific region covers Alaska, Hawaii, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Western Wyoming. Geographically, we're the largest Better Business Bureau in the United States. Yeah, we cover a huge area. I wanted to come in today to talk a little bit about businesses, things that they can do to be able to be responsive to their customers, employee relations, and of course, business to business across the board when they're dealing with this very volatile issue. Of course,
an understatement of the century, perhaps. Yeah. Just a little background on you. How long have you been with the Better Business Bureau, or did you start elsewhere? How'd you get into it?
So originally, I'm from Canada. I came down here, and my wife said, "Hey, you know what? We have to make a decision." So we decided to come down here to the United States. Absolutely love being in Spokane. Spokane has welcomed us with open
How long
arms.
have you guys lived in Spokane?
Be about 3 years now that I've lived here. My wife's been here for about 5 years. She does work at Deaconess Hospital, and so we live here. We have a house here in Spokane. It's absolutely great. I've been with Better Business Bureau for about 2 years. My official title is Marketplace Manager. It's more like public relations and community relations that I do throughout the entire region. My region is quite large. I go from the Canadian border up north all the way down south to the Tri-Cities area, the Oregon border, over to Wenatchee, and then over to Kellogg and Idaho. So
a lot of square mileage there.
I have a lot to deal with in a large period of time, talking to businesses, finding out more about some of their pain points. And of course, right now, the number one topic that people are dealing with is, of course, the COVID-19 virus, big time. Now, we always like to be able to provide tips, provide insight, and things that businesses can do. Right now, we're looking at businesses are building trust in these trying times, which might be a challenge for so many businesses. But you look at your consumers to start with, your customers that are out there. Make sure you're getting out there and connecting with your customers, calling your customers, and a lot of the different segments.
Maintaining that relationship.
Yeah, talking about that, reassuring them, but by letting them know that they're a priority. It's so very important. Also demonstrate that commitment to them, that you are committed to them. And then also using technology. I know that we're face-to-face right now, but there's a lot of limitations for these small businesses that they may be able to use Zoom or Skype or some other ones, or even just the telephone to be able to have those conference calls when they're out there.
No, yeah, we appreciate you coming in, especially considering right now it is risky business. And before you sat down, you came and sanitized everything. You were, and you were saying you're not shameful about it, nor should you be. An interesting thing that I keep seeing, and it's not that I'm the one to dish out medical knowledge or anything, but I think something that stuck with me is treat people and interact as if you already have it. It's the conscientiousness and just being considerate of others, because you can have it. That's one thing that might be awful, but it's giving it off to the next person. But so what are things looking like right now? Tense times. But how people in the businesses and everything, how are those relationships? Are they feeling strained?
Well, there's going to be strain when there is a lot of uncertainty that's happening in the world right now. And one of the great things that a lot of these employers can do is that they can set an example. Like I did when I came right in here, wiping down those
Yeah.
surfaces. And when you have a business that's very customer facing, and you have people coming in and out, show your customers that you're cleaning a lot of these different implements, showing that you're washing your hands, using hand sanitizer, which is so very important, proving to your customers that you are taking this as seriously as so many of them are. Also, minimize that risk. There's a really, really great thing that you can do. There's one of two things. You can either do the, hang loose. You can
Sure,
use that.
yeah. I've seen a lot of different things, yeah.
You can also use the foot 5. I've used the foot 5 before. You just you just turn your foot to the side.
That one is pretty fun, yeah.
It is a lot of fun to use, but use something a little bit different.
I gave you an elbow when you walked in, yeah.
I do, and I noticed that we're both wearing green.
I know we are. Yeah, we are here on March 19th, Thursday.
But we are wearing green to make sure that we are celebrating St. Patrick's Day a couple of days after the fact. Also, make sure you're setting your office expectations. Let those employees know about what your expectations are as a small business owner, and also educate your employees. Not only are we dealing with this, but we're also dealing with scammers who could be coming out of the woodwork. They do definitely ride a lot of the trends. The biggest trend right now is COVID-19. So you're going to see text messages. You're going to be seeing emails, you're going to be seeing phone calls that are going to be trying to get that personal information, because there is such a heightened amount of strain that's happening right now for so many of these small businesses.
And I'm sure that you guys are hunkering down and preparing to weather this for however long it is. I mean, nobody really knows. Different numbers get thrown around, seems like every hour, so who knows, but are you guys able to kind of telegraph or predict how these things are maybe going to mend in the near future as well as the long term?
There's no way to know how exactly the impact of what's happening today. That's what we can definitely measure. Businesses are feeling strained. With every press conference, there's going to be a different set of information that is going to be coming to the public, and of course coming to us as well. We try to reach out to all of our different accredited businesses as frequently as we can to be able to find out more information about that. Also, what you can do when businesses are dealing with other businesses, make sure that you're promoting a positive reputation, and also being very honest and being realistic with those other businesses that you're dealing with. If you're not, maybe you couldn't deliver on something, maybe you want to go out there and just let them know about that. Other businesses, it's not a surprise that they can be very accommodating to other businesses that they're dealing with. And then also make sure that you stay informed. There's so many great resources for information, whether it's the CDC or the Small Business Association, the Chamber of Commerce of the United States. They're everywhere. There are so many different resources available, and make sure that you stay informed as much as you possibly can.
I mean, this doesn't just go for, the COVID outbreak and the pandemic and everything, but just how life is in 2020 with all the different sources that you can get your information from. It can be really difficult to sift through and actually, get some credible information. And I think a lot of times, and I mean, I've been guilty of this too, but people will already have an opinion formulated in their head, and then they'll read a piece that supports that, and they feel validated in that sense. But I mean, I really think we should just strongly recommend as much as possible to read as much as possible to get all the different angles, whether, to actually be able to come up with an opinion or something a little bit more grounded that's not just, near and dear to your emotions and everything. Other recommendations or tips or things that I haven't asked about, is there anything else?
I really want to get back to our main message is that, businesses, they need to be building trust in these trying times. That's what they need to do. There are things that each and every business owner can get out there and go and do, and to establish trust, to maintain trust, and to have future trust of any of their customers or other businesses that are out in the community. If you do see any scams or maybe scam emails, text message, anything like that, we want to hear about that. The more information that we have at the Better Business Bureau, the better that we can serve our consumers and, of course, our accredited businesses that are out there. You can go to bbb.org/scam tracker. We do also have a lot of information, of course, also on a separate website. It's bbb-businesses.org/COVID-19.
Okay.
We have a lot of tips. Everything that I talked about here is right on there so that people can stay more informed.
Perfect. Really good stuff. We really appreciate you taking the time because, I mean, it's kind of been a whirlwind of a day. Naturally, a couple of people have canceled, which, is understandable in the current climate of things. But, again, thank you for taking the time to come out and, really giving the people good information. So stay informed out there. And that's going to do it for us today on The Pulse. Go check out our Facebook page if you haven't already. We always appreciate the incoming support. And stay safe out there. Be conscious and careful of everything that you do, touch, and eat. And yeah, we'll see you next time on The Pulse.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.